always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it.
Welcome back to Off the Hamster Wheel. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite 3 reasons why I trade covered calls. Before we get into those reasons, I want to talk a little bit about the channel for all our new people watching. I want to start a channel to help people learn what covered calls are, as well as follow along to a real world example of the portfolio that you could possibly have using covered calls, the gains you can make, and the plus and minuses. Now, I go into detail about covered calls in general in some of my videos. I discuss some of my lessons I've learned along the way, as well as reasons and strategies on trading covered calls and why you choose different strategies or how you play different strategies while selling covered calls. With that said, in this video, I want to go over my 3 top reasons why I trade covered calls. Number 1 is because of passive income. Now, this entire channel is all about passive income. So if it wasn't for covered calls, I wouldn't have had this channel in the first place, as well as I wouldn't be making the thousands of dollars I do a month off of my portfolios, solely off of selling covered calls. Number 2 is that I get to buy and hold, potentially hold long-term, companies that I want to invest in. And the number 3 reason is my most favorite reason, and you're gonna have to stick around to the end of the video to find out. So let's get started. Number 1, passive income. The reason why passive income is my number 1 reason for trading covered calls is because covered calls are a great way to make passive income. The premium that you earn from selling covered calls allows you to make income weekly off of the stock that you own. The more stock that you own, 100 shares worth, so if you own 200, 300, 400, you can scale up to larger increments of passive income. So for instance, I started with 100 shares of AMD, making about $100 a week, which is roughly $300 to $400 a month, safely on covered calls. Now, I have almost 1,000 or more at any given time shares of AMD, and I make $100 per contract, so I'm making $1,000 a week on AMD covered calls. That's $4,000 a month. Now, there are some up and down variables. Sometimes I won't make $1,000 every week. Sometimes I'll make $500. It depends on what the market is doing for the week and my strategy going into the week. But overall, the more stocks that you own, the more passive income you can make. So that's my number one reason. I want to make passive income. I want to do it in a safe manner. And so covered calls allows me to do that. Now, my number 2 reason. My number 2 reason is because I want to be able to hold the companies that I want to invest in long term. Now, one of those companies, if you've been following along, of course, is AMD. I've invested in AMD for a long time, so I believe in the company. I'm happy that I am able to sell and make passive income while also holding their shares long term. Another company that I enjoy is Intel, and that's what I use to show my $2,500 account. If you guys would like, you can go to my other videos. I'll put it up here in the corner, and that will show you an example of my $2,500 starting out Intel portfolio where I'm making $40, $50 a month or more, depending on how safe or how strict I want to be on my covered calls. So you don't need a lot of money to start making passive income with covered calls either. That's another great benefit. However, you don't want to choose companies that are not doing well. You don't want to choose companies that are the next Wall Street bets, popular stock of the week. You don't want to choose companies that are losing money. You want to choose good companies, but you also want to choose popular companies. So there's a fine line to making the most passive income with covered calls, and that's usually why I choose tech companies. Also, I believe in tech, so there's that. Now, the number 3 reason, if you stuck around this long, get excited because this number 3 reason is my favorite, and the whole concept is what got me invested, no pun intended, into researching what covered calls were. I've always wanted to invest in real estate. I've been told at a young age that if you have a lot of money, buy property, take that property and rent it out to another individual to live on, to use. Or buy the property low, wait a couple years, sell the property high as an investment. If you buy 100 shares of a stock, you technically own property. You own something. Those shares are a small little piece of the pie of whatever company that you bought. So they are property. You own a company. Now, because of the accessibility or ease of accessibility to options, there are people that are willing to rent the right to own your shares at a set price, and you get to actually dictate that price. So it's just like selling rent to own property. You're renting out your property until the people can't afford it for the price that you want to sell it for. And if it never gets to that price or they can't afford it, then they don't buy it and you get to keep the premium or the rent. So real estate and stocks are similar in that covered calls are just like renting out property or a room in a building. So those are my 3 reasons. Please subscribe to see more of my content, to see more examples and updates on my portfolios that I'll be doing here shortly in the next coming days, as well as you can follow along as I upload new information and new kind of learning lessons on covered calls that I'm learning along the way and that I feel like you should know to be able to sell covered calls strategically. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and follow this channel to get motivated to make your own covered call account and start making your own passive income.
Live the grind, I could change in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win at life. I never miss that.